Malawi sits among the leading tobacco-producing countries despite the weakening global demand due to the growing anti-smoking campaigns. Tobacco accounts for 15% of the country's gross domestic product and rakes in an average of $320 million every year, effectively becoming the leading forex earner. The Tobacco Commission, which is the sole regulator of the industry, as mandated by the law, estimates that around 165 million kilograms of different types of tobacco are produced every year. Most of the tobacco is produced by smallholder farmers. The crop is a lifeline for over 60,000 farmers, most of whom reside in rural areas. The tobacco industry also accounts for thousands of formal and informal job opportunities. Unlike in the past, the use of children in tobacco farming has drastically slowed down. To foster sanity in the tobacco industry, specific laws to protect and balance the interest of all players, including farmers, were enacted in 1938 and first reviewed in 1971. With time, most of the provisions became outdated. The Tobacco Commission had difficulties to execute reforms and respond to both recurrent and emerging problems. 13 years down the line, Parliament passed the new law over September 2019. The 2019 Act addresses a wide range of issues relating to pricing, transportation, levies, integrated production system (IPS), grading, production quotas, farmers registration, tobacco smuggling, and illegal vending, among others.
Among the three agendas why there had to be this law is the first one is grower protection, and secondly is to give responsibility to the growers, and the other one is to deal with the conflict of interests. On the grower protection, there have been serious concerns among various stakeholders within the industry that growers are being exploited, and the government was on top of the agenda to make sure that the growers are not exploited at various levels within the value chain, from the seed until the marketing of the tobacco. So the Act was formulated to seal those loopholes to make sure that the growers are fully protected. On the responsibility, while the farmers are to be protected, them also they need to be responsible. It should be their responsibility to partake, to make sure that they benefit from their sweat. And therefore it has given them the aspects that they need to undertake to make sure that they benefit from what the Act is putting on them. On the conflict of interest, we noted that in the conduct of the marketing itself, various players were doing multiple responsibilities. For instance, one could operate as a buyer, but at the same time would want to be growing the tobacco. Or one would be operating as a transporter, but at the same time would want to be a grower station. So these levels of operations conflicted in the level of service delivery. And therefore the law came in to address this, to say that if you are a buyer, your role should be the buying business and not also to double as a grower. If you are a grower, your business should be the growing of the tobacco. In other words, we are trying to allow multiplicity of operators within the tobacco value chain to make sure that everyone takes the rightful role in this value chain. So that's what this law is trying to bring on board.
Auction and contract farming, also known as Integrated Production System (IPS), are the only marketing systems accepted on the tobacco flows. IPS system was introduced without the solid backing of the law until the new act came into force. Other than imposing heavy penalties of up to 10 million kwacha on certain offenses, the Tobacco Commission now has clear and more powers to set minimum tobacco prices, flush out intermediary buyers, tame child labor, and improve quality assurance, among others.
The law has tried to address the issue of pricing. The first aspect of addressing the pricing issue is that it has provided provision of minimum prices, which are protective prices, that if a buyer offers the price at that price, offers a price at that stipulated level, it means the grower is already covered. Unlike the previous scenario where the farmers didn't have any benchmark to compare to say what have been offered is better or not. They were only based on their intuition and their understanding to say, if the crop looks like this, it should have fetched this price, but no benchmarking at all. So with the minimum prices, it means that now they are able to compare, and at that price, growers have already been protected. The second aspect, how growers have been protected in terms of price, is the quality of the leaf itself. So it has put in place grading standards to make sure that growers bring the tobacco that is appealing to attract competitive prices on the market. The other protection as far as pricing is concerned, it's on the costs that the farmers incur when they are bringing this tobacco to the market. In this case, the transport costs. So previously, growers were paying same rate when they are transporting their tobacco, despite their bales were of different sizes. So this time around, the law has said if we are to charge the tobacco transportation, it should be per ton per kilometer. So irrespective of the weight of the tobacco, farmers should not worry about my 50 kg bale would be paying the same rate as a 100 kg bale. And that conflicted in terms of mixing of tobacco, because now farmers wanted to capitalize or maximize or reduce their cost by putting several grades in one bale, just to cut on the cost. This time around, they don't have to worry about that because they'll be paying based on the weight itself. So in other words, it has regulated the cost that farmers should pay when they are bringing their tobacco on the market. So their profit margins have been now managed. In other words, they'll get the best out of their transport costs because they'll be transporting it at a minimum level.
Following the enactment of the law, TC has established a special enforcement and liaison committee to ensure all culprits are brought to book. Some tobacco vendors have been arrested and fines imposed on farmers committing various offenses, including use of recycled seed.
Any TC staff found to be classifying this tobacco commits an offense. And the very same penalties that are applicable when the illegal vending is happening is also applicable to us as Commission. So in view of that, we are the people that are the first to reject that tobacco on the market. Even the floor operator, if they have been found that they've receipted the tobacco knowingly that this tobacco is coming from uncertified seed.
Auction Tobacco Sales Company is the sole operator of the 5 tobacco floors in Malawi. The floors are at Kanengo in Lilongwe, Limbi in Blantyre, Chinkoma in Kasungu, and Luinga in Mzuzu. The company says it has, among other things, improved safety measures for the tobacco farmers and employees, introduced a vibrant information management system, secured enough storage capacity, and is facilitating the transfer of farmers' returns within 24 hours after the sale.
The law demands that the floor operator should have enough storage space. And we have made sure that we have that space which is safe and meets the standards that government looks for. Every year we will fumigate our spaces, all the storage warehouses that we have. We have this receiving side where we receive the tobacco before it gets into the floors. The floors themselves, they are quite big, spacious. We are able to, we have a capacity, for instance, at Lilongwe floors, we have the capacity to sell 10,000 bales a day, which is also one of the requirements of the law, because the law demands that a floor operator should be able to operate and sell 5,000 bales a day. So we have double the capacity at the moment. We also have storage spaces in rural areas that farmers are also bringing in their tobacco as receiving centers. These are also, we also make sure that they are as safe as the warehouses that we have in all our floors. So on that part, we are also adhering with the law. Safety issues. Right now, for instance, there are issues to do with COVID-19. And yet we are operating the markets. We have made sure as a floor operator to make sure that people who are operating the markets, stakeholders who are visiting the spaces are quite safe. So we have all the hygiene measures put in place. Everyone is washing their hands before they come into the markets. They are sanitizing. We are checking, scanning their body temperatures to make sure that when everyone is inside, everyone is also safe. And everyone also has to have a mask when they are in here and observing social distance. This is just an example of how we are also adhering to health standards, health issues as we are operating the markets. So that's just one example. The law also demands that we are also able to guarantee safety of tobacco when it's in our hands. In all our markets, you have observed that we have CCTV cameras. We are able to monitor each and every day, day and night, to make sure that the tobacco is safe. And the CCTVs are at all our floors and within our offices. So when farmers deposit their tobacco with us, it is safe from theft issues. In terms of maybe fire incidents, our places, our floors are insured. Therefore, it means that if, for instance, if it ever happens that we have a fire accident, farmers would still be compensated according to what they expected to get from their tobacco, because our places, our floors are insured. So we are also adhering to the demands of the law in that specific area. There are also other requirements, such as to make sure that we have a vibrant information system, a computerized system of being able to manage the flows. That we have perfected over the years. We are able to produce the statistics on a daily basis in terms of what we have received, what we are selling, how much has been sold, the average prices, the rejection rate. All that we are able to do it quickly. And we have a capacity to pay the farmer within 24 hours after a sale. But this, of course, requires that other stakeholders, such as the buyers, are able to deposit the money as quickly as possible, so that we are able to remit that to the farmer. And therefore, its implementation is only awaiting the buy-in of other stakeholders. But at the moment, the law demands that we are able to demonstrate, we are able to pay within 24 hours, and we have demonstrated that. We have presented that to the government, and we're only waiting for other stakeholders to be able to say whether they are able to remit the funds as required by the law.
Tama Farmers Trust is one of the key stakeholders in the industry. At the helm of the trust is Nixon Lita, who thinks the new law has provisions that can potentially eliminate farmers' exploitation, which comes in different forms at different levels.
Over the years, we've noted that we were having lots of players in the industry who were not restricted on what they can do or what they could do. In the end, we felt like farmers were being taken advantage of. We talk of vendors, though we don't have IB officially, but we have we've had some vendors who were having probably a growing license, but they didn't have any plot or a farm somewhere, but they were able to buy tobacco and then sell. So in the end, it was like a producer was not able to take his crop to the market, but there was somebody in between. These are some of the issues that were distorting the whole tobacco farming. And now with the law, we have noted that these others are being taken out, and each player in the industry is being restricted to his or her business. So a grower is a grower, a buyer is a buyer. We don't want to have middlemen, and we can see that this is being taken out.
Lita, however, admits the new law has brought operational challenges on their part. His team is engaging the Commission and other authorities on the matter.
There are services that, as a trust, we provide to growers, but now with the new law, it's like we are not able to collect fees from growers for the services that are rendered. Say when we offer logistics services like warehousing and the like, we're not able to collect fees for such. We offer some services like rehandling and Haitian packaging. We are not allowed as a trust to collect these fees within the trust, but it means we have to subcontract or maybe operate separately. Like in our case, it means for Haitian, that is packaging material, we have now a new body under Tama Farmers Trust that is working on this. So it's like we feel like a TC or government just needs to inspect and verify the services that are being provided, and then they can certify to say, Tama Farmers Trust, you can collect fees for these services because we are very sure that you are providing services to the growers. But at the moment, we are having some difficulties. Of course, we're working with Ministry of Agriculture to clear out some of the misunderstandings that I've noted with this law.
To farmers, there are mixed views. While others feel the law has addressed some of their concerns, many still think they are not protected by the law and the exploitation continues. Spot checks with tobacco farmers at Kabudula in Nilongwe, Namwere in Mangochi, Daone in Zomba, Bolero in Rumpi, and Mperembe in Mzimba showed that 100% of the farmers engaged have heard about the new law, but only 30% understand most of the provisions and were able to state them or confirm. Interestingly, 90% of them said the new law does not shield them from further exploitation, citing poor prices and justified rejections and classification disparities as close examples. The controlled buying of tobacco and ban of farmers' appearance at the auction floors as part of the COVID-19 measures has also been wrongly linked to the new law.
Pena bage sizienda chifukwa chonena kuti katundu amatipatsa ndizoona sitikukana timagwiritsira ntchito amatipanga ngati contract komano minda ija ndi yathu ija timakhanga kuti atipatsa katundu uja ndekagulidwe ndimomwe timakhalira ndi anthu ena kunotithandiza ntchito ndimomwe amatigulira fodya ukuku sisilongosoka ndalama zake mumapezekaso kuti mwina wambotenga pena ndalama kuti ulipire anthu okuthandiza ntchito chifukwa tisanatigule bwino.
Mphamvu imene ifeyo sitikukhala nayo yoti tikhoza kuti tingapemphe kuti ayi fodya wanga munigule pa mtengo kuti chifukwa kumisikaso ayika lamulo lino loti tisamathe utani upitako. Ndiye kunsika we sudapite fodya wako mmene analili sukhulupirira kuti namweyo chifukwa zimakhala bwino ngati mmene zinaliko kumbuyoku. Iweyo fodya uja wapita walandira selo date kuti fodya uja agulija tsiku lakuti umene utsatira ukaona kuti fodya wanga uja ndi mmene ndasamalira na ameneyi kapena ni wina. Koma zimenezi pano zaletsedwa kuti kumisika tisapite tizingulandira mwina masayodere kuti fodya uja wagulidwa lero mwina makadabwa kuti fodya amene udasamala bwino koma uwona pa selo chiti kuti wagulidwa 90 cents. Ndezo makazoka kitsi kuti fodya yakani yamweyo ngasivura noti kumisika sirupita tumaletsedwa.
Kumisika kujet pali ma minimum prices amene anakhazikika ndi boma. Ogulaja sakulondola chifukwa chake ndoti akungopanga zimene wakufuna. That's why we have a complaint kuti chuchitika kwa chakuti malamulo abwera kwa ife alimi koma ogulaja palibe chimene chuchitika china chilichonse nkhani ya malamulo. Iwo angopanga zimene akufuna. Palibepo ndi siku limodzi kuti Tobacco Commission abwere kuti fodya uyu imene mugula pa uyu mwina grade yake ndoti ugule 250 mupeza kugula mwina 190. Palibepo siku limodzi kuti Tobacco Commission abwere kuti zimene mupanga apa ndi zimene tinagwirizana and imene fodya kuonekera kulingana ndi magede akumbuyo mtengo wake siwo. sizikutheka. Iwona also ndigulu kuti angoyang'ana kuma malamulo apanga kwa ife kugulawo kulibe lamulo lina lililonse.
While the new law has introduced stringent measures preventing the use of recycled seed, a point most farmers support, others acknowledge they know some farmers who are still using recycled seed, especially in remote areas. For others, the use of recommended seed, which is slightly expensive, has not brought any difference on returns.
Ngani ya mbeu anatikaniza kuti tisalime manyukuta. Tizilima mbeu ya boma. Ndimene mbeu tikutani tikulima. Monga ife tili kumakampane ama tipasa mbeu iti ya boma ija tikulima imene ija. Ndiyama nyukuta kuikana.
Vuto la kuti mbeu imene akutigulisa ija. Mbeu ija ili ni madoti yake. Walipo madoti ena mbeu imene ija si kuchita kweni. Ngati kumene ndi malima ine. Ni magula mbeu ija. Koma ndi maona kuti ndai ya kuti foli ya kupya. Ama chuluka foli kuchita ero. Chifukwa cha cha mbeu imene ija. Kuma mbeu ya kale ija sama chita ero. Koma imene chita ero. Holo pamene pandadinda belo la ntundu. Fodi wake chani usanganisa ni chani ndi ero. Kuti kodi tikaona kusika kuti kodi akachita chani. Mitengo timaona so chaka chata oyoyora ndi uyuyo mitengo timayona bwino oyoyorayo kusiyana ndi kuti ndi amene amatipasa RTU chifukwa chakuti ujayo auti otani alibe mafuta kwambiri kusiyana ndi kuti kusiyana ndi oyoyorayo.
Ife ngati alimi kuno timauzidwa kuti mbeu yoyora sikufunika maiko akunja ndipo akhala ATTC akubwera kumatichitisa misonkhano pafupi kuti mbeu imene muisiye. Ngati nemene mwakulira ine musinkhumu ndi machimva chimene chiyansanga kunena kuti zona ngati boma likutiuza kuti mbeu imene musiye muzale ya makono ya ku areti timakagula 7,000 mbeu kapakete kaja ndipo kuti ngati ine mulimi chake chino ndinateronso choncho eti ndi ukalamba wangawo ndikunena kuti ndinadinda mabelo 7 amene ndikuwaonesa pano zachisoni zimene ndikuti ndikamaona apa mitengo imene ndikapasidwa ene ndi imene ndinamusamalirira afodi anga si mitengo yondiyenererera iyayi ma 96 fodi ya yense mtengo kuchokera pansi paka na mwamba kungokhala wa ma 96 chimene chondava nacho chisoni kwambiri.
Despite TC introducing quotas as a means of controlling production, farmers are still producing beyond the allocated kilograms. Lack of an alternative crop that can raise matching returns was cited as a major reason.
ATTC anapeleka lamulo lakuti panopa makora ozipeleka ndi waja. Ndio maripatsa makora aja yochepa mwasalingana ni imene ife tingagwire ntchitoyo. Nde pachifukwa ichi timatuma pita ku makampani umakalembetsana ngati contract. Chifukwa choti mwina tikhaiko timakora rochulukira kufa amabungwe amaripatsa sorawo ndi makilogramu. Ndetsopano foja ujora lilimitsa. Kukapeza kuti fongurilemba ntchito ngati mujeti mari tenant. Faja kuje chimakhala chathu. Ntchito timagwira roka. Iwajo madzandero kapo amabungwe aja upita kumsika. Umakakhala nthawi yoti wajo ragulitsa foja, urenga ku foja wawo wangongoleyo. Ifeyo nkulira ya mchipululu ori kuti maswana isokolowa. Iti ni mwina makora athu tisadamalizitse.
Boma la mali takatu sangati alimi production yathu imakhala yokwera kwambiri zomwe zimathandiza kuti mitengo kuthandiza wawo koyipa kuthandiza kuti mitengo ifike koyipitsitsa kutsika mitengo pa kwalima kumalayi kuno. Ngati angathe kupanga control production yomwe njira yake ndi yomwe ya commission ayenera kupanga kumpatsa munthu chani makota imene ndiyo thandiza kwambiri. Fa wina aliyense adzilima kuna kuti fodi uyo ndalimayo akagulidwa. Kumano ngati ngapanga overproduce ndi kuti mwanjira yonse fodi ameneyo amavuta mtsika na simabaya aliyense ndi limitation yake kuti chaka chinofuna fodi yamwakuti.
System ya kota hii pele pake so kuti pingadi fwa kuti kulima kumaka kosena sena mina makhala kuti wakonzeka kulima bwino kwambiri ndi kota amene akupasa ita imakhala kuti yatha ndipo peza amene zili panopo kuti munthu sungagulitse fodya kwina kwena kuti ugulitse wekha ndiye fodya kuti mangokhala naye mweneke kugonera naye kwati kota yatha mene akuti kupita kuti ukapangisa chani yakukaniza panopo nanga sisi malamulo panowa ndiye apapo pali futo ndithu unali bwino akanati azitipasa makota ambiri tichita kulephera ndifeyo kuti zimene tazilimazo tigulitse zithe zilephereke.
All farmers we talked to hailed the new law for ensuring farmers are charged per kilogram and not per bale when transporting their tobacco to the floors. Some are also happy the list of deductions on their final sale sheet has significantly reduced. Most of them also spoke in support of curbing illegal vending, which they acknowledge has drastically been minimized, with a few incidents still being recorded.
Munthu akapeza kuti agula fodya anapereka chilango cha 10 million 5 years kupulizwa. Koma chimene chichitika njakuti zimene zinapangidwa zikugwira ntchito koma kufedu kuno sizikutheka chifukwa chake chokuti tikapeza munthu ife amene tikukhalira kuno tikapeza munthu ena kupanga ripoti kwa Tobacco Commission. Ukapanga ripoti kwa Tobacco Commission ngati ine zone chair akundiuza kuti anthu omwewo kumuzi amugwire munthu uja apite naye ku polisi ndi pamene iwo abwera ku polisi kuti ayambe kumimba mlandu. Ndi apopo ntchito zake zikanga tizukandika chifukwa choti iwo ali responsible ndiwo apangana lamulo aine kugwisa ntchito lamulo ife ndi anthu oti timungolondeza lamulo koma kuti pasaso ntchito tikagwire anthu tikhalimi tigwire munthu uja tipite naye ku polisi pena wakapo pali chiopsezo.
Masikiro yakanga bweka pali posi so vikapangisa kuti balimi bange wakulimangaso ntchito vanthu anyake vanthu balimi wana vakagulisikanga chomene hono kuzira mavendera kanga bweka so mwenecho akasanganga profit ichoko kwepa sono atisi ya controlled vending ya tobacco.
Overall, the farmers' perception towards TC is not positive and conclude the Commission does not serve their interest, but rather prioritizes the interests of buyers and other stakeholders.
Iwo ogula fodya aja amatigula bwino fodya uja koma kubweza kuja amabweza fodya koma iwo zilango zawo zija sitikuziona kuti anayika chilango chanji kuboma kuja choti iwo chilango angotiyikira ifeyo koma iwo chilango chija sanayikeko choti iwo fodya uja akabweza azakumana ndi zilango zotani iwo zilango zija palibe koma ife akungotibwezera chani fodya ndeti kusowa kowika fodya timati fodya timapanga somantha ndeti kapita ndi fodya uja akasaka bweza mwina akaziwa kuti nangasi fodya anali kale pomba yoleji yake ndi yomweyi ndeti bweze timakhala ndi chani ndi manda koma iwo akanakhalanso nawonso ndi lamulo lawo loti akabweza fodya ifeyo pakhale lamulo choti umakhala ngati mgwirizano iwe ndi ifeyo koma mgwirizano uja sikugwira ntchito ifoti fodya akutibwezera ndi akabweza fodya uja ifeyo tikapita nayo kuti
ndiye ndikumanka paja poti alimi musakafike kunsika chifukwa cha coronavirus tinachimva bwinobwino ndikumaziwa kuti tinawo amayi ndiye ATTC amene akatiyimirira ife ngati iwo ngati fodya wawo koma atilephera kuti akatiyimirire kumene kuja kuonesa ngati kuti atipwetekanso ife ndi ATTC bwanja sakayimika nsika kuti ya alimi anga wasimuyena kuagula pa mtengo ngati umene imesika.
The Commission acknowledges the need to do more on awareness on the law in order to clear some of the conceptions. TC, however, maintains the law protects all players, including farmers, and believes in the long run, sanity will prevail.
What the Commission expects out of this is sanity to prevail, integrity of the industry upheld and protected and safeguarded, and Malawi's crop having a market access at global level and stands up to competition. At the end of the day, we are talking about compliance and sustainability. Farmers sustainably producing the crop. Malawi exporting to the destinations in a compliant manner. That's what we expect. And that the growers are fully protected and safeguarded. And this is an ongoing exercise.
Tobacco buying companies could not grant interviews due to COVID-19 restrictions, and efforts to have them send a pre-recorded response proved futile.